Welcome to Book Club Preview. I'm Michael, and today we're looking at what if, and we're looking at two questions here. First, the little planet, which is, man, could you live on an asteroid like the Little Prince if the asteroid had enough mass? And the second question is, at what height would you have to drop a steak for it to fall down fast enough before it started to cook or became cooked? So let's check it out. First one, Little Prince. The Little Prince is a story about a little alien, I guess, but he looks like a human that lives on a little asteroid. It's a very famous story, one of the top selling stories in the world. Most people like it, but one person in particular doesn't like it. But let's look at it. Asteroids. Well, first of all, this book was written so long ago, we actually didn't know what asteroids looked like at the time. We thought asteroids probably looked like little planets, were just round. It wasn't until like 1970, and this Little Prince was written in like 1949 or something, we learned that asteroids were more like a potato shape. But let's just ignore that. Let's just imagine, okay, the asteroid is a lot like the Little Prince. Well, if that was, this asteroid would have to be so heavy, it just have to have so much mass, like 500 million pounds, I think is what it is, something like that. Just concentrated, I don't even know what it'd have to be made out of, like mercury or something, like the planet Mercury. It would be so crazy to be walking on this tiny planet or asteroid that the gravity at the bottom would feel heavier than the gravity at the top. So your feet would be like, let's say, 100% of their weight, but your mid part would be 50% of their weight, and your head would be like 25% of its weight. And so you'd almost feel like you're stretching because the gravity is not as strong as you go up. And so that would be just kind of crazy. But if you wanted to break away from this asteroid, you would need about as much power as like jumping high enough to dunk a basketball. Now, luckily, you don't have to worry about jumping straight up because it's just about speed. And you can run and jump. And if you ran and jumped, you could potentially break the orbit and then keep sailing on. But if you didn't do it quite fast enough, you would get stuck in orbit around this little asteroid. And the orbits would be kind of crazy. So it wouldn't just be like a normal like oblong shape, okay, like the Earth has around the sun. It would actually be kind of a pentagrammal shape. So it'd be it'd have like several edges to it. Bing, 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 bing. Most of things caught in orbit like this would just crash around, just go crazy and crash around into the object that it was floating around. And that is, I believe, how that ends. I can't remember how it ends, but that's pretty much it. Well, how about a steak? Okay. Well, first of all, the steak, if it was falling from a huge height, it probably wouldn't be cooked at all. And he's reminding us that things don't heat up because they're going so fast or because the air is hitting them. It actually heats up because it's pushing the air. It's actually compressing the air in front. And that compressed air is actually what heats up. So, what would it take to compress the air in front of a steak to heat it up? Well, if we thought about a steak being about the size of a hockey puck, we can determine the velocity that's done from all the science of hitting a hockey puck and how heat would spread through the meat, which some cookbooks really helped out with. But pretty much it says it's going to be so cold floating through the air, like the wind would just be blowing off the heat anyways, that it wouldn't actually cook by the time it hit the ground. In fact, it might even freeze before it hits the ground. But if we got really, really high, 70 kilometers, into the air, kilometers. And if we got 70 kilometers into the air, then it would heat up enough to warm the outside, but not enough to cook anything on the inside. If it was 100 kilometers, it would be able to heat up, I think, to past Mach 2, but it still wouldn't heat up enough to actually cook the inside by the time it fell. If you were able to heat up or go 250 kilometers down, it would heat up fast enough to cook the outside, but the outside would cook so fast that it would burn off, and then it would just leave another raw piece that would burn off, another raw piece that would burn off. So by the time it landed, either it would not be cooked because the front side just got burnt, or it would burn up before it landed. So the recommendation is, if you're going to do this, drop the steak in Pittsburgh, where it's rumored that the metal workers there would take a steak and they would throw it on like a burning hot searing metal, and they go kss, kss, and it would be black and it would be black, and the middle would be still cold and blue, and that was called a Pittsburgh steak. So if you drop the steak in Pittsburgh, then by the time it landed, it would be considered cooked. Everywhere else, it wouldn't be cooked. That leaves us with a ton of vocabulary. So let me hit these pretty quickly. First of all, poignant. Poignant means causing some strong sense to be alerted or triggered. Velocity is speed and direction. It's a direction that something is going in a speed. Elongated means it actually becomes longer. It's getting longer. Ellipses, this is the kind of gravity pull of the planets around the sun. It's not a perfect circle. It's kind of like long, close. That's ellipse. Pentagonal is a shape of a pentagon. Penta, which might be like 8, 9, 7. I can't remember how many sides it is. Octagon, pentagon, maybe 9. But it just means it has several sides to it. You know, square, hexagon, octagon has 8 sides. I think pentagon is 9. Resident, someone who lives somewhere. So if you're a resident of this asteroid, you lived on this asteroid. 4chan, this is a website. I've never visited this website. It's a very toxic, awful place to go, not healthy. A lot of people go there and just dump their garbage in this website. And so the author kind of talks a little bit about the people that visit this website. They go on triads, which is just these off-topic, saying something passionately that maybe not connects to the topic at hand. The next vocabulary word here is homophobic. Phobic means fear. Homo means one. So this is like fear of people that love the same gender, okay, like gay people. So you would be afraid of those gay people. 4chan has a lot of, or potentially, okay, I've never visited there, but the conversations just end up being homophobic, just blaming everyone, saying some bad things about them as far as what kind of people they love. So that term is homophobic. Coefficient is a steady number, a number that doesn't change. So the velocity ends up being the same eventually, like the speed. Terminal velocity is if you drop something At first it'll fall faster, but as the air starts to compress, then it'll slowly start to slow down, and it'll reach the same speed limit all the way down, because the air, it can't push past that air. It can't compress it more, break through it. That's terminal velocity. Appreciable is noticeable or significant, meaning you can actually see that something is happening. Spheroid means like a sphere shape. Oid is kind of like. So humanoid, like a human shape. Spheroid, like a sphere shape. And the last one is ablation, which is like removal. So as a rocket is coming in, or something is going so fast into the earth, the tip of it starts to burn away and be removed. And that would certainly happen with the steak. Whew, that leaves us with our discussion question. Would you want to live on an asteroid like the Little Prince did? Let's just say you had enough food, you had enough water. I don't know how that happened, but you could live there. But you had a little asteroid that was your home, that was your planet or whatever that you could live on. Would you want to? And of course, please make your own discussion question. That is all the time that we have for today. But thank you so much for joining me for this episode of Book Club Preview. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.